Hey guys, welcome to CakeWalk Cambridge. I'm Aisha and today we're going to start with the second segment of Chapter 14, Coordination and Response. This segment mainly focuses on the eye, which is such an important, it's like an integral part of this chapter, okay? You just need to know every detail about this chapter by heart and you need to be well versed with it and understand what you're reading. Okay, so today hopefully I'll get you to understand what you're reading from your textbook. Okay, so first we're going to focus on the sense organs. As I mentioned in the previous segment, sense organs are groups of receptor cells. Okay, so basically this is your definition. Once again, I have put in bold the terms. So the first term is just the term, and after that you have what gives you marks. Okay, so sense organs are one group of receptor cells that respond to specific stimuli, and you need to be able to state at least three of these. Okay, so you should know four by heart for sure. I knew all by heart, so I would recommend you do the same because then when you reach a question like this and by chance you forget two, it happens, you have a vast fortune, you don't feel scared or nervous, you have many backups. Okay, so sense organs are groups of receptor cells that respond to specific stimuli like light, sound, touch, temperature, and chemicals. So let's break this definition down. So sense organs, as we know, are our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Okay, groups of receptor cells. Now, as we know, the level of organization. You have cells, tissues, organ system, organism. So organs are made of tissues, which are made of cells. So sense organs are a group of receptor cells that respond to specific stimuli, which means a particular change in your external or internal environment of an organism. Now, what the types of these particular changes fall under these categories: light, as we know, like sunlight or like light from a torch or something. Sound, that's a sound. Touch, if I touch a rough surface versus if I touch a smooth surface. Temperature, if I touch a hot cup of tea. And chemicals basically focuses on taste and smell both. Okay, so like chemicals diffuse in the air, you can smell it, you eat chemicals, so that's basically your sense organs definition that you should be able to understand. So when you write it, you can probably write it in your own words, but you will definitely include these scientific terms that are made bold. Okay, so we're going to focus on the eye. Okay, so for this, I recommend you first learn this by heart properly. Then you print out like around 3 to 4 of these sheets blank without any labeling. And then what you do is you fill these in. Don't do one after the other because if you're on a roll, you will probably remember it the second after you fill in one. So you do one, and probably after 4 hours, you do another. The next day, you do another. So you keep gaps between them. So, it's just more, it's a more efficient way of learning. Okay, yeah, so basically here this is a blurred picture, but I think I can explain it to you because I really like the labelings here. It's very IGCSE oriented. Okay, so first here you have the innermost part is your retina. Okay, the innermost layer over here is your retina. um Now this is the white layer, your retina. Okay, and now this little spot in your retina, there's going to be a little dip. Okay, you can't really see it, but the dip is usually like this. Okay, little dip here. This dip is your fovea. Okay, you need to be able to like acknowledge this, know where it is and everything. Okay, is your fovea. Here is your optic nerve. As you can see, little nerves. Okay, you can see two nerves here. Optic nerve transmits impulses from the eye to the brain. Now, this you need to know because very often it asks you which nerve cell transmits impulses from the eye to the central nervous system, and many kids write sensory neurons. Don't write that. Optic nerve. The type of neuron is a sensory neuron, but the nerve is the optic nerve. Okay. Now, straight up here is you're going to be a blind spot. Okay. This area here is your blind spot. It's not labeled here, but I am going to label it for you. Blind spot basically is the part that lies directly in front of your optic nerve over here at the back of your retina. It is where you have no cells on your retina. Okay, basically your retina is packed with two types of cells, rod cells and cone cells, but this blind spot has no cells. Okay, absolutely no cells. Okay, So this is where you can't see anything because it's like a completely black spot. You can't see anything. Okay. So here, this is your retina. Okay. This part over here, this blue part is your choroid, but you don't have it in your portion. Okay. And this is your sclera, which you also don't have in your portion. I'm just gonna like name it for you because you'll probably see it in your textbook. So for name's sake, I'm just naming it. This part over here is your conjunctiva. Okay, it's got a thin film of liquid over here. Okay, conjunctiva. This part over here is your cornea. Okay, right over here. Okay, it's like extremely important. Okay, your cornea, it refracts light that is entering into your eye and helps focus it on your retina. Okay, the lens is over here. Okay, this is your lens. Okay, so I'll just erase this, that was done badly. Okay, yeah, so that is your lens. Okay, the lens is basically a flexible ovular structure that bends to refract light into the eye. Okay, and focus it. Okay, that's your lens. Now over here you have your suspensory ligament. Okay, that holds your lens. Okay, in place. It's in green. Okay, I'm marking it here. It's in green. Suspensory ligament, and the suspensory ligament is like this stretchy ligament, like this material between your lens and your ciliary muscle. So your ciliary muscle is this tiny little circle here, which I'm gonna do in dark red here. This is the ciliary muscle, and this over here is your ciliary body. Okay, I'm marking it for you. That's your ciliary body. Okay. Um, you have then so basically you don't um so basically here you have the vitreous humor. It's like a liquid jelly like thing, vitreous humor. You don't need to know the term, please don't worry about it. And here you have your aqueous humor. This blank space in the middle where there's nothing is your pupil. Okay. And if you look over here at what is pointing at your iris, iris is the color of your eye. Okay, it's like it contains muscles that are the color of your eye. Okay, so I have like dark brown eyes. Pretty sure most of you all have dark brown eyes, especially if you're Indian viewers. But yeah, that's basically it. Okay, your iris is over here. Okay, yeah, so let's see if there's anything else I've missed. I've got the picture here that is in my book, my notes book. There is nothing that I missed. Okay, so basically your cornea refracts light that is entering the eye and helps focus it. Your iris is a ring of two muscles that are antagonistic. That means they work in the opposite directions. Okay, and they control the pupil size, which we will learn now. It's an interesting concept, actually, quite easy, but you will need to know the mechanics of it all. Your lens refracts light to focus it on the retina, as I mentioned before. Your retina is packed with rod cells and cone cells, and your optic nerve transmits electric nerve impulses from the eye to the brain. Okay, so now let's move on. That's basically your structure of the eye. I suggest you go online and print out a copy of it. So this is basically my bio notes book. Okay, yeah, ignore the design. I wrote it terribly. This is the picture that my teacher gave me. Okay, this one here. These are my notes, as you can see. Okay, yeah, so this picture, so I try to find like a similar picture online, and I try to like blank out the names, and I use that for my practice. So I suggest you do the same, black and white, because IGCSE only provides you with black and white. Okay, so find a black and white picture that's like clear, easy to identify, etc. So the eye, this was basically what I read out from my notes book. Okay, and explain to you, this is your functions. So you need to be able to state the function of each part of the eye. This is taken directly from your syllabus. Okay, so do not mess this up. You need to memorize all of this. I've already shown you the parts. So yeah, let's move on. Now the pupil reflex. As I explained, the iris is a ring of muscles, antagonistic muscles, that control the size of the pupil in a process, in a mechanism called the pupil reflex. Okay, so when light of high intensity enters your eye, you have circular muscles in the eye that contract and radial muscles relax. Okay, this go this way. Circular muscles contract, radial muscles relax. The size of the pupil So that I did in brackets because like I didn't mention that. The size of the pupil, that means it constricts, which means it becomes smaller, and the light entering the eye becomes less. So light of high intensity basically can destroy or damage your cells on the retina. So to prevent this from happening, the size of the pupil needs to be restricted, needs to be smaller. So basically, constriction occurs because circular muscles contract and radial muscles relax. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to explain this to you in like a diagram. So this is your eye. Okay. This is going to be a pupil. This is going to be your this is your pupil. This is going to be your iris. Okay. So you'll have muscles that are going to be moving, that are going to be like this, that move outwards, and you have muscles that are going to be in bands like this. Circular muscles and radial muscles. Get that? So circular muscles constrict, okay, and I mean contract in high intense light, and radial muscles relax. Okay, so this causes the eye size, the pupil size to become smaller. Now in low intensity light, the opposite happens. Circular muscles relax, nothing happens to them. Radial muscles that are like that, they pull outside, so they contract. When they contract, they pull outside, they pull outwards, and size of the pupil dilates, which means it becomes bigger, and so the light entering the eye increases. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you this little story. So in my school, we learned this chapter with my bio teacher, and once we were going to do this dance performance with torches and lasers and everything, and we had these torches and it was really dark. So everyone was, don't do this, please don't do this. I don't know what will happen. Like it may damage your cells or whatever. But we were doing this. So you put the torch like a little below your eye, and you can actually see the size of the pupil slowly becoming smaller. It is extremely cool, especially for people with light eyes. So I have darker eyes. You couldn't really like see it, like you could see it, but it was not as clear as this one guy with really light eyes. Okay, you could like actually see the pupil size becoming smaller and bigger. It's damn cool, trust me. Okay, so that is basically the pupil reflex. That is one mechanism of how the eye works. And the second is accommodation, as well as, so there are two aspects to seeing things. One is how bright or dim the light is, and two is how far the object is from the eye. Okay, so when the object is far from the eye, ciliary muscles relax. Okay, now, suspensory leg. So basically what happens is when an object is far from the eye, your lens, which is usually really bulgy, becomes thin, okay? And when there's an object that's close to the eye, the lens becomes bulgy and thick, okay? So what happens is how the lens becomes thin is the mechanism that is taught over here. So when there is an object that is far from the eye and you're trying to look at it, the ciliary muscles which are located in your ciliary body relax, okay? Now, you know, I already pointed out the vitreous humor to you. So the pressure of the humors, so the humors exert a pressure on the suspensory ligament, okay, which is the stretchy elastic material between your ciliary body and your lens. Okay, and so when this happens, the suspensory ligament is stretched and becomes taut. Okay, so its pressure is put into the suspensory ligament, and so this pulls the lens, holds it in place, and makes it thin. Okay, and stretches it out. However, when the object is close to the eye, the ciliary muscles contract. When this happens, the ciliary muscles are now taking the pressure from the humors, and the pressure on the suspensory ligaments is taken out. So the correct term to use here is slacken. Okay. Okay, wait, this is the wrong spelling. Oh my God, Aisha. This is the wrong spelling. The spelling is this. So they slacken due to the pressure being taken out. Okay, and then your lens becomes bulgy and thick and ovular. That is called accommodation. You should be able to state this term because very often they ask you about distance of objects from the eye and the suspensory ligaments and everything. You should be able to know the term accommodation. And also in your MCQs, they will ask you a lot about the pupil reflex and accommodation. Like they'll give you a table like this, so you should be able to fill it in. Okay, like pick the one that has the correct options filled in. So I suggest you go through this table like a lot, be well versed with it, keep writing it down, make notes, ask someone to take it up for you because that will help you. Okay, rods and cone cells. Rods and cone cells are both present on the retina. Rod cells are sensitive to low intensity light. During the night, obviously light intensity is low, So rod cells help us with night vision. They detect shades of gray. They are found throughout the retina, but none of them are found in the fovea, okay, or the blind spot, okay, not found. I told you no cells, rods or cone cells, none are found in the blind spot, but rod cells aren't found in the fovea either, okay. And here, as you can see, they provide us with night vision when we can recognize shapes but not colors, okay. Now, cone cells, on the other hand, they are sensitive only to high light intensity and they detect color. They don't operate in poor light. They are concentrated in the fovea. So, cone cells are present throughout except the blind spot, and they are found in the highest concentration at the fovea. There are three types of cone cells that are sensitive to red, green, and blue light. Okay, so you should be able to know this by heart. Very important. These come for 4 marks to describe the functions and descriptions of rods and cone cells. Okay. And this last part is a graph that basically explains to you the concentration of rods and cones. This could come for a 5 or 6 mark analyze, describe, or explain question, or all three integrated. Okay, where you'll have to read this kind of graph or draw it out yourself. So you should know this graph and explain the whole concentrations part. Okay, so rod cells are found highest. Okay, the highest that rod cells are found are closest to the fovea. Okay, this is so basically the fovea is 0 degrees, and 10 degrees from the fovea, the rod cells, or 15, they are found in the highest concentration. Okay, once again, here at around 20 degrees from the fovea, they are found at the highest concentration. Over here, you can see there are 0 rod cells at the fovea, okay, and they decrease, okay, later on. Cone cells, on the other hand, are found everywhere except the blind spot. Blind spot, as you can see, there's nothing. Okay, this is your blind spot. Okay, here at like 15 degrees. Okay, and cone cells are found highest at the fovea, found everywhere else except the blind spot. So you should be able to roughly draw this diagram as well. Okay, so that was your second segment of chapter 14, coordination and response. I hope this video helped you, and I hope I was able to explain some of these new foreign concepts like well, so you understood them. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If this video helped you, please like this video, comment on this video if you have suggestions, and share this video. Subscribe to my channel, CakeWalk Cambridge. It would really help me. And yeah, I'm always there for you, so don't worry, don't hesitate. You can always email me and get in touch. Bye. We'll get through this together.